大家好，欢迎来到海麦跨境，我是大海，我是一个亚马逊小卖家，这是我做亚马逊的第4年。那我们这个频道就是帮助那些比我还要新的新手卖家少走弯路，早日开始赚钱。那我们做亚马逊呢，逃不开的一个话题就是如何做 PPC 广告。我的群里呢，我的一些同学也就经常问我说，大海怎么去做 PPC？ 那我们今天就请到了一位 PPC 专家，来自美国纽约的 Mike Zagari。Say hi, Mike.Hey
everyone, excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
So Mike started Amazon, his own Amazon in 2015 and started PPC agency in 2016. So Mike, introduce us about your business.
Yeah, so I used to be a physical therapist or a physiotherapist back in the day, and I realized that Amazon was much better. So I started Amazon 2015, and then I used advertising, PPC, to help grow my business. Now, back in 2015, everything was very simple. Everything was very basic, which was good for me because it allowed me to learn as I went along. Now it's become much more complex, and we have a lot of different ad types, which we're going to be talking about today. But back in 2016, I saw that there was a need to make this easier even back then. And I developed the software to help sellers to automate a lot of this, and also the agency to take all of this into our hands and help sellers to grow their business through the agency as well.
So you are definitely an expert in Amazon and PPC. You know, the 2016 is what we call the good old days.
Yes.
So Mike, yeah, let's do the basic introduction. Mike is so generous. He agrees to do a series of video for us Chinese sellers about the PPC. So in this lesson, I think Mike will show us the basic about the Amazon functions. So Mike, start your screen.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you get a lot of value out of this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go over the very basic different types of ads that are available. We're gonna use the US platform and demonstrate through the US platform. And then I wanna show you where those ads actually show up on Amazon, because I find that because things have become more complex and because there's multiple ad types, sometimes it's hard to know which ads you're actually bidding on. And this is the foundation for knowing your strategy and to building a good structure and a good strategy. So when I first started back in the day, back in the good old days, we only had sponsored product ads. Then they added sponsored brand ads. Then they added sponsored display ads. So it goes in this order. And I'm going to teach you guys over the next, and girls, over the next few months that we're working together, how to use these many different ways. And we're going to start off very basic and make it more complex from there. But the point is, you can use all 3 of these different ad types in multiple different ways. But let's start basic. Let's start off with sponsored product ads. Now, if you are just getting started on Amazon, this is where I would focus my time and energy, because sponsored product ads is the bottom of the funnel. This is where you're likely going to get the best conversion rate, where you're likely going to get the shoppers who are looking to purchase right away, the shoppers who are not looking to browse as much, although you do get that, and I'll show you examples. But if you're just getting started, this is where 70 to 80% of your effort and your energy should go, right here. The other thing is these campaigns will feed the other types of campaigns. So you build out these campaigns, and all of the information and all of the data that you get will feed information into this campaign and into this campaign. So it's very much going to help the other campaigns out. Now let's take a look at what sponsored product ads look like on Amazon. Here we have Amazon.com, and I'm going to go to the example that I always go to here, grilling brush. Now, for many of you, this might be basic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover all of where a sponsored product ad can show up. So we're looking specifically at sponsored product ads on Amazon. Now here we have the very first advertisement sponsored. This is called top of search. Now it's important to know that these ads right here have the highest click-through rate percentage, have the highest conversion rate percentage. And it's really good to go after these targeted keywords if you know they convert really, really well. So we have strategies to make sure that we get our placement for the top of search sponsored product ads right here and right here. Now, this is also considered top of search. First two positions, top of search. Anything below that is considered rest of search. So the first section up here, top of search, then we have rest of search. So check it out, rest of search, rest of search. We go down the page, rest of search. Now, these ads are important to show up for as well. However, they're not going to have as high of a click-through rate percentage and a conversion rate percentage as compared to the top of search, okay? So those are two different positions for sponsored product ads. Now, as I go down the page, you're going to see ads, and we're going to cover all of this, and we're going to make sure that at the end of this video, you know exactly what ads you're looking at when you go on Amazon.com. But as we go down to the bottom of the page, we see another one here. This is rest of search, rest of search. Then we go to page 2. Now we're on the top of page 2. This is rest of search. This is not top of search. This is rest of search on page number 2. Pretty good position to be in because you're at the very top, but it's still considered rest of search. And of course, everything going down here is all rest of search. Now, when I click on a listing, I'm going to click on this listing here. Now we have the product detail page. And these ads, sponsored product ads, can also show up on the product detail page. So as I go down the page over here, you're going to see there's some ads that are going to show up. Now, these are different types of ads. You're going to see a bundle, another good opportunity to set up a bundle. But then we see the sponsored right over here. Sponsored. These are called product pages, ads on product pages. So if I go over here, these are sponsored products for product pages right over here. And check it out. It also shows up right over here. Now, as I go down the page, you're going to see it may also, doesn't always, but it may also show up further down the page. Here we go. Sponsored products right here, further down the page. Now, it's worth noting, compared to the top of search and compared to the rest of search, the product pages have the lowest conversion rate. They have the lowest click-through rate percentage, but they have the most amount of visibility because there's so many spots that you can show up for. So you can get a very big reach, a big impression share, meaning your ads can be seen multiple times. Now, that could be good if you're looking to get brand discoverability, brand visibility. You're looking to get more exposure. You may want to take advantage of this by getting your ads placed on multiple different product pages, because not only are there multiple locations your ad can show up, but there's literally dozens and thousands and thousands and thousands of SKUs and product pages that you could potentially target through product targeting. And Wayne, we'll get more into that in more detail in later weeks to come, the product targeting. So unless you have any questions, I'm going to move on to sponsored brand ads.
So Mike, you mentioned product targeting. The product targeting is also shown in the product detail page, right?
Yes. So in product targeting, so when you set up a sponsored product ads, you're going to have the keyword targeting, or you can do product targeting. Now, when I target a product, I can either target the category as a whole or individual ASINs within that category. It's important to note, this is very important to note, that when I target a category or an ASIN, I'm not just going to show up on the product detail page. I'm going to show up on the top of search, rest of search, and product detail page for that category and for that ASIN, potentially show up in all the locations. Now, you may be thinking, well, if I'm targeting a product, why aren't I just showing up on the product page? Because I'm targeting a product. You're actually targeting all of the search terms and all of the products that related to that, and all of the product pages related to that product. And when we get into the campaign build out, I'll show you that if you want to specifically target just the product detail page, there's a strategy that you can do for that. It's a very simple strategy. You could tell Amazon, hey, I only want to show up on the product detail page. I don't want to show up on search when I'm doing product targeting. There's a way to set it up very easily doing it that way. Wayne, does that help?
That really helps. I couldn't wait for the next episode. So Mike, please go on.
All right, so next, let me get out of the, gonna go back to the first page here. So back to the beginning, when I typed in grilling brush, the very first ad, the very top of the top is this ad right over here. This is sponsored right over here. Now this is sponsored brand. Now, if I go into sponsored brand even further, you're going to see there are 3 options for sponsored brand ads. We have the product collection. That's what this is, product collection. Multiple products, product collection. Very easy to set up. And essentially, this is really good because it allows us to start to build our brand presence on Amazon and drive traffic to our brand storefront. So a very premium location. However, this is an ad that is not as native or natural looking to the shopper. So it doesn't have quite as high of a performance. It's getting there. It's kind of close because you can do better optimization these days, but the performance is likely not going to be as good as these ads because these ads look much more natural to the shopper. In fact, I will ask my family if they even know this is an advertisement, and they don't even know this is an advertisement. They just click anyway. They think it's a normal listing. But over here, they know it's an advertisement. They can see it, it's different. All right, so this is sponsored brand product collection. Then as I go down the page, you're gonna see, hopefully, maybe not, oh, there it is. Sponsored brand video, right over here. Sponsored brand video, right here. Very good opportunity to work on your videos. Specifically in other countries other than the US, it's very new. It's a little bit more expensive now in the US, but still it's very good. Lots of opportunity there. Now this is only keyword targeting. So for this sponsored brand ads, product collection, you could do product targeting, keyword targeting, video, only keyword targeting for now. Let's see if they change that in the future. All right, next, here we go. Now we have brands related to your search. What is this? This is sponsored brand ads, product collection, rest of search right over here. So we had the top of search up at the very top. Now we have the rest of search. And as you know, we'll go to the third page here. This is considered rest of search. As we go down the page, here's where it gets very interesting. This is new, Wayne. For some people, it's new. Look at this. Brands related to this category on Amazon, sponsored. This is product collection, product page. Product collection on the product detail page, okay? So we're talking sponsored brand ads, product collection on the product detail page. This is like a new rollout in the last couple of months, so lots of opportunity to get your brand out there, lots of opportunity to do custom images, and to really get your brand out there. Now, sometimes that also shows up at the very bottom. Not all the time, and as you can see in this example, it does not show up at the very bottom. Now, I'm going to give you a really quick tip. I know a lot of you don't speak English as your native language, So I wanted to give you a quick resource that you can use that Wayne has access to, so that when you are making your sponsored brand ads, when you're making your product collection ads, you have to put in a headline. They're called headline ads. We have this free tool on our website called the Headline Creator. All you have to do is fill in the blanks with your search terms. So for example, the pill organizer that seniors trust, dependable tires for all terrain and seasons. So we have very specific headlines: how to, self-interest, product line. You can go ahead and use this. It's 100% free. Just go to our website, ppcentourage.com/spotlight-headlines. And Wayne, you could put a link later on if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the description box.
All right. So now that leaves us with one more for sponsored brand ads. This is the store spotlight ads. Now, let me see if I can merge this. I think I might have an example here. Here it is. Can you see that? This is what's called a store spotlight ad. Now, this is leading to the brand storefront. I don't want to click because I don't want to cost them any money. That's just how I am. But what you do is you set up the spotlight ad. Each one of these ads is going to a different part of the storefront for the Amazon seller. So for example, let's go, you see how the headlines here, then you have the actual storefront page, storefront page, storefront page. Let me show you a storefront. I'll go to Capri Sun. And they don't have a storefront. I don't know why. They need help. I think they need help with their advertising. We'll see. Okay, Honest Kids has it. I've been to their storefront. There it is. Visit the Honest. So these are the different storefront pages. Honest Tea, Honest Kids. So in this example, we were sending, the storefront ad is going to 3 different categories. Let me go back to it. Hope I didn't lose it. Yeah, I think I lost it. Okay. I hope I got the point across there. I have to say, I would not start with the storefront ads. I would move away from that and use that later on as you evolve. For now, just get some sponsored product ads up and some sponsored brand ads up, specifically with the product collection. All right, now we have the final sponsored display ads. This is my favorite because it's so new and there's a lot that you can do with it. So sponsored display ads, right over here, it's available to all sellers at this point. Let's go back to the very beginning of the search. As I go down the page, you're going to see there's ads that show up over here. These could be sponsored display ads. Now, they're not always sponsored display ads. Sometimes they're what we call DSP ads. But for the sake of this presentation, the ads that you make right over here could show up over here. Let's see if they show up. There's another one down the page. Let's see. Any more? Now there's no more down. Oh, there's another one at the very bottom. Here it shows up at the very bottom. This is sponsored display ads. Now these are called search ads, sponsored display search ads. Now, as I click on a listing, here's where it gets really fascinating. As I click on a listing, you're going to see these 2 really good ads right over here. Now, this is critical when we start to build out our strategy, because these 2 ads take up really good real estate on the product detail page. So these are sponsored display ads, and they're showing up right below the buy box and right below the bullet points. Now, at the time of making this video, Amazon doesn't allow you to target, to tell them which ones you want to target. So if I'm making an ad here, I can't tell Amazon that I only want this location. I think in the future, they will allow us to do that. For now, if you make an ad here, you have a good chance of showing up here and here. And it's very simple to make. And in later videos, I will show you exactly how to set that up. Keep in mind This is also up here, sponsored display ad right here. Top stripe, sponsored display. As I go down the page, let's see what we find. It's always fun to find and see what we find because it's always different. Amazon is always changing things up. There we go. This is called a billboard ad. This is the largest ad on Amazon. This ad takes up a lot of real estate. I should say also the video ad is just as big as this. So the video ad that I showed you before, and this is called the sponsored display billboard ad. Sponsored display billboard ad. Very big piece of real estate. And if I go down, here's another one. This is called product page sponsored display. All right. So this sets the foundation for everything that you're going to need to know when building out your strategy. With this knowledge, then you start to take all of the different ad types and start to think about where do I want to show up for which products. So if you have a product that has got lots of reviews, you probably want to show up for all three to really start to fill out the funnel. If you have products that's just getting started, you probably want to start off with just sponsored product ads. And then you use that information to go into sponsored brand ads, then sponsored display ads as you start to get the wheels turning and start to get more and more sales and more reviews. So Wayne, that's all the information about where the ads show up. Is there anything else you'd like me to cover on this video?
Yeah, I think that's very thorough explanation of where the ads goes. In China, people are always confused. What does all that ads mean? So many spots. I think Mike did a great job showing us where is the ads and how it is called. Okay, so Mike, would you like to take some QA session here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would also love to our Chinese audience. 如果你没有问题的话，你们可以留言，然后我们有一个环节是我们可以直接向 Mike 提问。So this time I'll gather some basic questions for Mike. That is, Mike, could you give us Chinese sellers some tips? They may ask. The most question is, what is the biggest common mistake people make when doing their ad campaign?
The number one mistake I would say is not knowing your profit margins and your profitability. That is critical. It's a foundational piece. And if you don't know it specifically down to the dollar, you don't need to know exactly how much money you're making with every sale, because that will dictate your strategy. A lot of sellers look just at the ACOS. And if their ACOS is really, a little bit too high, they get very nervous. ACOS is okay, but it tells a very small picture of the full story. You want to know your profit margins, and you want to know what your true ACOS is, or your tacos, or your ad spend margin impact, to see how is that ad spend impacting my sales overall. Is that ad spend helping me to get more organic sales? And because of that, is it only eating away at a small percentage of my margin? So let me rephrase that. If you know your margin and then you are very clear on your margin, then you can look at your ACOS and say, okay, here's my ACOS, but what is my true ACOS? What is the impact that my advertising spend is actually having? And how much money do I have left over? Knowing that information is critical because sellers look at it the wrong way, and I have to always re-educate them. Hey, ACOS is one thing, but look at your true ACOS because that tells a much deeper story, and you could be leaving money on the table. You probably are if you're looking at just your ACOS.
So Mike, a follow-up question about that is, people always ask, what is a typical ACOS in the product launch phase?
Well, it depends. It could be typical, probably around 50 to 60%. It could be much higher than that if you don't have a good product. It really all depends on so many factors.
So in the product launch phase, the ACoS is should be higher because we do not have that many reviews. The price is not that promising. So when the ACoS is around 50, 60, we should feel comfortable. We shouldn't be panic.
Yeah, I wouldn't panic. I would put a coupon on there. I would use that as it's an investment. You know, when you go into selling your product, you have to have money to invest into it for advertising to help get the wheels turning on that product. Without that, it's going to be very hard for Amazon to know what you sell, and it's going to be hard for Amazon to rank your products. So you have to get it moving, and sponsored product ads is a great way to do that. That being said, you don't have the social proof yet. No one knows if your product is good. So they're less likely to convert even if they do click on your product, which means it's going to be a higher ACoS. Hopefully over time, once you have those reviews, that ACoS will go down and will go down and will go down. It's worth noting, Wayne, that your true ACoS starting off is also going to be very bad because true ACoS looks at also your organic sales. You're not going to have organic sales when you just get started. So that initial spend on your advertising is going to cut away at your margins. There's no way around it. But over time, you're going to get more organic sales. And then your true ACoS gets lower and lower and lower. And then you start to hit your sweet spot. And that's around 10% true ACoS.
Wow, that's a target. Thank you, Mike. I think at the end of each video, let's do a tip for the sellers. So when people watch our advertising series, each episode, what do you want them to take actions? What do you want them to do after they watch this episode?
Right. So 2 things for this episode. Come up with a strategy or a structure and a plan. 1 week you do and you make campaigns, the next week you optimize campaigns. Make sure you stick to a plan. Now you can do your own version of that. You can do beginning of the week, you create campaigns, end of the week, you optimize campaigns, whatever works for you. But what you don't want to do is just set up campaigns and just let them go. That's not a good idea. You're going to waste a lot of money on ad spend. So come up with a structure and a strategy. Now, tip number 2, come up with a really easy to understand naming scheme. Because if you look at my screen here, I'm going to teach you how to create all these different types of campaigns. You see all the different types of ads. Once you create a lot of campaigns, and if you have a lot of SKUs, you're going to have to make sure that you are organized. And the way to do that is to have a really good naming scheme for your campaigns. Now, Wayne, I teach them how to do that in the Playbook series. You can download this. It's 100% free. I like to give away content. We'll teach you how to make that. But definitely come up with a naming scheme because that'll save you a lot of time and probably going to help you with your optimization in the future.
Okay, I'll also share the link in the description. Thank you, Mike. I couldn't wait for the next episode because of the Excel chart, because of the everything left. Thank you, Mike, for this interview. See you in our next round.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.